kutoka vijijini, mijini na hata jijini kukuletea taarifa mchana kutwa. Usiku tunaketi kitako, tunadadavua tukichanganua taarifa na makala muhimu yanayokuhusu wewe na familia yako. Ungana na Bernard Ngozi kwenye Open Forum Political Show kuanzia saa 4 usiku hadi dakika zake kila siku ya wiki kwenye
Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome for some kind of talk. And this is the place that we are here to build up and analyze the matters that are affecting our society and our nation. I want to welcome you tonight for the night show, because tonight we're going to have an amazing show that is lined up against in front of you, and I'm also here tonight. I want to welcome you all. Feel free and feel part and parcel of this as even you're doing the political open forum show, the show that gives you the opportunity to share our views and to share opinions to every matters concerning our politics. Tonight we are having the discussion once into the speech of Ruto today, and also other claims that are being raised up during the day. So I want you to invite somebody to be part and parcel of this, so that we can have the conversation together. For those who are joining up on the screen, please use the link on the comment section, join and give your opinion to one-on-one, and it will be great, so that we can also have you inside the building. Thank you for those who are joining us from every part of Kenya. Please just tell me on the comment section where you're getting it from, and it'll be good, so that I can be able to read your comment, and I can also be a shout out unto you, so that we can move on together. On today's lineup, we have learned with the story of Oparanya being claimed to be arrested out of corruption. Apart from that, I'll be checking out the story line today that was Bravo speaking out and sharing his opinion too. And apart from that, we'll be checking out the details more on what is happening to our nation. Now it's 3 years since Ruto came on the seat, and what has he achieved in it? I want to come to tell me what has he not done too, so that we can eat. Today is Ruto speaking out, telling that there's many people, all the opposition leaders, that they are just speaking it out, but they are not showing what they have done also, apart from what they're criticizing Ruto has not done. So we'll be checking out what this class that, and also other breaking out throughout the day. Yesterday we checked out the sort of insecurities that is still raising up to our nation. Also today we still have the cases that are being rising up to the insecurity issues. And one of the stories that we'll be checking out tonight is the story of one man that, one policeman that was said that he shot people out of bad luck inside the court. And this is so surprising. How can somebody by mistake shoot 4 people and then later injure himself inside the court? So that we're getting also that such a controversial story that doesn't show out or doesn't bring out the clear truth, which we'll be checking more details and also listening from Kenyans from every point and everywhere, giving out the opinions too, because that is also matters to what is being lined up. So I want to welcome you all. Feel free and feel part and parcel of this as we are moving on to swiftly have the journey to discuss this open political forum show, the show that gives you the opportunity to share your views and opinion too on our political forum.
Tonight. Basi yule mtoto akasema ile siku moja mimi sijaenda kanisani na Yesu Kristo anakuja.
Because kuleta ndege ya chief of defense forces down is not only negligence but criminal negligence.
Nilikuja hapa hadi Agong nikamwambia mchague Ruto. Na mimi naomba msamaha.
Na mchezo huu
You are watching Sound Candy Talk live.
Welcome back. I'm Ross Shadizo tonight, and this is the way we will do it from the beginning to the top. I want to invite you, feel free, feel part of this. We are having the conversation tonight so that we can build up together and strengthen everything together for it. I want to welcome you all, feel free and feel part of this as we've been having this good discussion and show lining up in front of us so that we can have everyone indeed contributing towards this, because this is the opportunity that we can share or we can speak of our mind, and we can also share our details towards it too. So tonight on another political front, we have seen the stories that have been aligned in front of us, and I'll be playing some stories and also having the conversation over them. I want to let me all feel free and feel part of this, as even having the good time together tonight, have this weather conversation. Before we go up the word of the day, this a lot of things that happened today. Someone claimed to be murdered, and also other things are happening towards everything. So please, welcome you, feel free, feel part of this. But one of the things that has surprised me today is one case that is on my table today about one police officer who was claimed to shoot people inside the court. 4 people inside the court. They say the people are taken to the hospital and they are being wounded and they have been treated by the officer is saying that it was by mistake. So this is how it's being announced. So we don't know how can we explain it. That out of that, we don't know what the truth. I'm not only having the truth, but to aim as a Kenya see what jinka. That's the hashtag we James normally use so much. So I want to welcome you. It has been free so that we can have this conversation together as we're going to be building up for this night and for this show tonight, because tonight we're having the discussions and having the controversial stories that like the one that is in the headlines tonight, so that we can build and bring everything to the line up and everything to this to where it's supposed to be, so that we don't allow some things go into mess and others goes into chaos like that, and nobody speaks over them or over it.
Headlines on The Explainer tonight. The National Integrity Alliance in Bungoma are probing a mysterious incident where a DCI detective, who was an investigating officer in a case, mistakenly pulled the trigger of his Seska pistol while making his submissions in court and shot 4 people before injuring himself. According to the County Police Commander Anderson Jaggi, police are treating the discharge as accidental. Jaggi says there was no malice before the shooting, as he promised a thorough probe. Victims of the shooting have been treated and discharged. Those who are injured include a prison police officer, 3 civilians, and the firearm holder, who was the DCI detective.
Mimi niliona kama mkuu na kitembea fiatu inateleza, kumbe tamu ilikuwa inaloa mpaka ndani ya fiatu, ndio nikaambiwa, ndio nikajua kumbe nilikuwa nimepigwa risasi.
Tusikia tu mlipuko tup, na watu wakaanza kukimbia, ndio hiyo sasa nikapata risasi kwa miguu. Sasa hapo kila mtu alichanganyikiwa.
Tulikuwa watu 4 ambapo tulikuwa tumepata yale majeraha, wakatuweka kwa pikipiki wakatuleta Bungoma Referral Hospital, ambapo imechukuliwa x-ray ambayo ilibainisha ya kwamba kuna pieces za zile bullets zilikuwa ziko hapo ndani kwa majeraha.
One DCI officer who is an investigating officer IO in a case accidentally discharged 1 round of ammunition from his Seska pistol. We have visited the scene and processed it. The victims have been taken to hospital in stable condition. As I have seen, they are slight injuries, and we have equally commenced the investigations on what transpired. But as I've said, it was accidental. It was not intentional.
That's what is being speak of it with that story. I want to hear from you, and I want to hear your opinion too, because Wakenya pia nyinyi mnajua kuongea, and I want to hear from every Kenyan and everybody about that. Do you think that was it accidentally, or what do you think of that perspective? Kwako unaona ni vipi, ama unaona ni lipi ambalo linaweza kuwa linaendelea kulingana na hilo swala, ama nyinyi mnaona ni vipi? That's why I want you to come on board and help me to know that chagizo kwa view kweli this is what's not conspiring towards it. Okay, if we leave that, I'll come back to the dream and the man of the day. We're beginning up the story of Oparanya, who was the former governor in Kakamega County, and he has been claimed that having involved himself in corruption. Let us watch out this news, so then we'll have the conversation over it.
Headlines on The Explainer tonight. The National Integrity Alliance, a group of anti-corruption and human rights organizations, want cooperatives and MSMEs Development CS Wycliffe Oparanya arrested following a High Court judgment that quashed the Director of Public Prosecution's decision to drop corruption charges against him. In his decision, Justice Benjamin Musyoki stated that the DPP usurped the mandate of the EACC by considering fresh evidence without directing the anti-graft body to conduct further investigations. EACC had recommended prosecution of Oparanya over allegations of conflict of interest, abuse of office, money laundering and corruption involving 56.7 million shillings. Gatete Njoroge reports.
Cooperatives and MSMEs Development Cabinet Secretary Wycliffe Oparanya is in trouble. A decision by the DPP to stop his prosecution back in July 2024 has been quashed by High Court. Justice Benjamin Musyoki, in his judgment, says the decision by DPP Renson Ingoga to review charges of conflict of interest, abuse of office, money laundering and corruption against Oparanya was irregular and unconstitutional and therefore null and void. He further declares that the DPP usurped the investigation mandate of EACC by considering fresh evidence without directing the anti-graft body to conduct further investigations. Prior to the judgment, EACC had on July 31st, 2024, in a public statement, rejected the DPP's proposal to withdraw Oparanya's case after his nomination by President Ruto to the cabinet. In their argument, EACC took issue with the DPP's decision to review the 56.7 million case based on a letter from Oparanya's advocates who claimed the cash received by the cabinet secretary from those who had secured contracts when he served as Kakamega governor was not kickbacks but a loan, which he had been sued over failure to pay. The commission said the evidence obtained and availed to the DPP met the threshold. The High Court in its judgment did not invalidate Oparanya's appointment to the cabinet, stating that the process followed was constitutional. Following the court's decision in a matter that was filed by activist Frederick Mula, who challenged Oparanya's appointment on grounds that he had pending corruption charges that were abruptly dropped, the National Integrity Alliance is pushing to have Oparanya arrested and to face charges recommended by EACC. Gatete Njoroge, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
That's the report from Oparanya, and that's what's happening and that's what's going on. Please tell me what this opinion too about that story, because this is now getting to the edge and getting hotter and more hotter. This is all around and all over. Please tell me, what is it cooking? What is it cooking? What is where does Kenya is going? Where Kenya is going right now? What's going to first? So I want to hear from you so that I also listen to you. Okay, as we leave that, this is also what conspiring throughout the day. And then let's watch this.
Kwingineko tunaarifiwa kwamba maafisa wakuu wa usalama humu nchini akiwemo waziri wa usalama na inspekta jenerali wa polisi waliwekwa kwenye mizani kuhusu hali ya usalama na ushirikiano wa polisi na wananchi. Kikao kilichoandaliwa moja kwa moja kwenye runinga ya Citizen kiliweka bayana baadhi ya maswali ya Wakenya kwa wakuu wa usalama. Mwanahabari wetu Ben Kiroi anatujuza yaliyojiri.
Katika kikao cha wazi kilichodumu kwa zaidi ya saa 3 jana usiku, waziri wa usalama Kipchumba Murkomen alikumbana na msururu wa maswali kutoka kwa wananchi kuhusu usalama wa taifa.
If you see police officers blocking even yourself, they block you at some point, they must have been trailing you knowing where you are headed to.
We need to foster a good working partnership with the members of the public.
Kikao hicho kilichopeperushwa moja kwa moja kupitia kipindi cha The Monday Report Jumatatu usiku kilitawaliwa na malalamishi kuhusu mienendo ya polisi, huku wananchi wakitaka maelezo ya kina kuhusu sababu zao, ikiwemo maafisa wa polisi kuhudumu bila sare zao na kuvalia maski.
We will not allow our police officers to put their lives in danger by wearing uniform when they are not supposed to wear uniform. The police officers, you know, many people think about police officers only because of protests. Police officers are dealing with Al-Shabaab in border counties.
Miongoni mwa masuala yaliyozua hisia kali ni matumizi ya nguvu kupita kiasi dhidi ya waandamanaji. Ingawa Waziri Murkomen alikiri kuwepo kwa changamoto hizo, alilaumu wanasiasa kwa kuchochea.
The real problem is to ask political leaders to sort their political problems using the constitution and peaceful means so that they do not have to overload to create problems for the police officers.
Tatizo la rushwa ambalo limekuwa donda sugu miaka nenda miaka rudi miongoni mwa polisi pia liliibuliwa. Waziri Murkomen akikiri kwamba mara kwa mara magari ya serikali hukosa mafuta.
When we come to report, every time we come to report, you usually told by your people that weka gari mafuta tuende mabusu. So I need to know, do you fuel your vehicles, or are we the ones who would be fueling your vehicles?
Many Kenyans think when the police say lete mafuta, they actually mean lete kitu ya corruption. It is not true. The real truth is that in our leasing program, we are giving 450 liters of fuel to police officers for an entire month. So if he is in Kibish and is picking that fuel from Kitale, the one he's using from Kibish to Kitale and then go back is already, by the time he arrives at the police station, he just has a few days of operation and the fuel is over.
Maswala kuhusu usimamizi wa sekta ya borabora pia yaliibuliwa, sekta hiyo ikitajwa kuwa tishio kwa usalama wa taifa.
Heard from the ladies. I'll give you a chance. Pass the microphone tafadhali.
Ben Kirui, runinga ya Citizen, Nairobi.
Huh? That's cooking. That's what's going on. That's what's getting out. I want to get from you. Please tell me, what do you think? There's one question that has been asked there, a question that is my heart so much. I'm trying to are we the one fueling the police vehicles, or the police vehicles are fueling with our tax money? That's also another controversial question that Kenyans still asking, and they know their rights and they want to know more about it. Just from that. That's one of the questions that has most of the people, most of the Kenyans, they're having inside their hearts, but they never spoke over it because sometimes they feel weird, as well as they feel like they will not be able to see the next minute. But I think the boldness of Kenyans that are having it, they have asked for it, so that now it's nice that they're giving only 50. So if the police are giving such like kind of fuels, why do they not complaining about that, so that the government should ask them enough fuel to patrol, to do everything. And what's surprising that only this paid fuel normally just get finished when you ask them that I want you to come and help me to pick someone. But when they are on their own patrol, the fuel is just there. So we wonder what's not happening. But we will know that the truth will come to align it, because now the Kenyan are on the verge to get the truth and to make sure that everything is aligned to the purpose. So this is what has been prevailing over it. Please let us get careful and just continue stand still and stand strong, as even we having the great remarkable from Kenyans as we've been modeling and aligning it. As we drop that story down, I want to check out now the big G in the family in the room. I want to take this opportunity to bring the big G in the room, and this is a story of one Mr. President Ruto. They are speaking all about saying that the opposition leaders should show up what he has not done, but not just claiming for lies from him. This is also much speak from President Ruto, and what most people less expected that we're going to rise up and it's going to happen towards it. I want to show you that's what's being happening.
NTV.
Now, President William Ruto has told off his opponents and accused them of empty rhetoric meant to distract him from his development agenda in the country. The president, who was on a tour of Kilifi County for the unveiling of the special economic zone in Vipingo, told the opposition to present their development record to the public, as opposed to endless criticism on his administration. Stephen Leto reports.
President William Ruto returned to the coastal region for a development tour that was accompanied by 2027 re-election sentiments, as his cabinet secretaries drawn from the coast rallied the region to re-elect President Ruto for a second term.
Na watu wa Kilifi mnasemaje?
While addressing Kilifi residents in Jaribuni area, President Ruto tore into his opponents and accused them of empty talk.
Hatutaki siasa ya fitina. Hatutaki panganga na porojo. Tunataka kila kiongozi kutoka MCAs wetu, wabunge wetu, magavana, wale mawaziri na sisi wote tufanye kazi ya kusukuma mambo ya maendeleo mbele.
The president cautioned Kenyans against leaders who have no agenda for the country.
Wananchi ni watu wako na akili. Pale mbele kutakuwa na uchaguzi na watachagua viongozi wenye matendo yao inaonekana. Wale wa kuongea tu porojo mingi na siasa ya bure, si mtawazamisha? Si wataenda nyumbani?
President Ruto also spoke on the thorny land issue at the coast and told the locals that the government had set aside funds to purchase land from absentee landlords to resettle squatters. The president used this Kilifi tour to drum up support for the affordable housing project that he says has employed several youth in the region.
Katika program yetu ya housing hapa Kilifi County, kwa sasa serikali ya Kenya tumetoa shilingi bilioni 18 ya mambo ya affordable housing ya Kilifi County. Manyumba inaendelea kule Kilifi North, inaendelea Kilifi South, tumepanga ya kule Malindi, tumepanga ya kule Rabai.
The head of state early in the day unveiled the construction of a $3 billion special economic zone in Vipingo. The president also oversaw the signing of an MOU by the Trade Ministry for the establishment of Auto Parts Industrial Park in the country. Stephen Leto, Citizen TV.
That's what is happening and that's what's going on. Okay, that's the big gym today inside the room tonight. We're going to speak over it and we're going to rant over it. And we're going to dwell over it so much. So I want to hear from your opinions too. I want to hear from one side so that we can have the conclusion together and we can know what has President Ruto said. So tonight that will be leading the on our conversation tonight for the 3 years. We're saying it they're saying it at 3, at Ruto at 3. So, Ruto at 3, what is your opinion towards Ruto at 3? Because these are the things that are being spoken out all over the Kenyans and Kenyans raising issues and Kenyans raising also their contribution towards it. I want to play a couple of videos to see the reaction of Kenyan Mtani reacting to the Kenyan or President Ruto at 3, because for the 3 years, what has he done or what has he concluded to it? This is the reaction of the Kenyans from different places, from different part of the Kenya, reacting to President Ruto at 3. This is how it was.
Unatazama Sound Candy Talk Live.
President William Ruto. Na ni ukweli William Ruto has achieved so much. Tunaona kuna hizi avoidable houses zenye hatujui zimejengwa kwa shamba ya nani, lakini tunaona zikipeanwa na hatujui zinapewa nani. Hiyo ni project moja. Kuna hii project nyingine ya SHA, that is Sharin, nayo inafanya kazi. Tunaona Duale maneno yake inaendelea vizuri, anakula vizuri na familia yake wako sawa. Then kuna hii project nyingine ya abduction, hiyo nayo ameiperfect vizuri sana na tumeona ameweza kuachieve a lot in abduction and he is the best Mr. Abductor mwenye tuko naye. Tunaona story ya mauaji, watu wanauliwa right, left and center, tukiambiwa kuna CCTVs along the highway. Tumeona hiyo maneno. So Mr. President, thank you so much. Tunaona maneno unafanya vizuri. Project nyingine ameachieve on the positive side ni kusaidia Harambee Stars na kuwapea pesa. That was good, hata kama hatujui hiyo pesa ilitoka wapi. Kuna project ingine ile inaitwa project Mudavadi, kushibisha Mudavadi na Atuoli. Hiyo nayo ameweza kuifanya vizuri sana, sababu hatujaiona Mudavadi amehold any ministerial cabinet meeting ati ni amechea, na tunaambiwa ati yeye ni super PS, unaona, super CS, sijui super hot. My friend, another project yenye William Ruto ameweza kufanya ni ile ya Soipantuya. I think hiyo mnaielewa, si ndio? Wakenya, hiyo kama huelewi wewe hauko Kenya. Kuna another project ya kucapture the judiciary, kucapture the opposition, kucapture LSK na kucapture that is the Law Society of Kenya, sorry. So hizo zote ameweza kuzifanya vizuri sana. Another project yenye William Ruto ameweza kufanya ni withdraw 3.62 billion in a span of 42 days, na hatujaelezewa alitravel akaenda wapi. Another major project yenye William Ruto ameweza kufanya ni ile ya kuita watu State House, anawapea 5,000 na 10,000 in the name of ile sijui ni empowerment. Another project William Ruto ameachieve in 3 years ni kuweza kufanya Kidiki his deputy na compare docket ya empowerment in Kenya. Another project yenye ameachieve ni kufanya Sudi akaweza kuingia United States of America for the first time. So William Ruto, that just to mention but a few, tunajua kuna vitu mingi umefanya. So heko sana, congratulations, you are the best president in Kenya. Ama namna gani? Hiyo ni ukweli. Yeah, so hiyo msianguke.
Jina naitwa David Saina, mmoja wa viongozi wa Talai kutoka Kericho County. Kwa kweli tangu hii serikali ichukue power, sioni maendeleo hasa sana inatuhusu. 3 years down the line, tunaona tu mfurutano na udanganyifu mingi. Ni kudanganya. Is it a priority? If you see now, the education sector is going through a lot of challenges. Yeah? And they are telling us tunaendelea. Is it a priority mambo ya manyumba ama masomo? Yeah? In fact, it's getting worse. Sio mzuri venye serikali inatujukua, sioni vizuri. Mambo ya SHA ndio hiyo iko na confusion mingi. In fact they were telling us that SHA inafanya mzuri, na lakini yenye inaonekana sasa imekuwa na uwizi kuliko hata NHIF. They were telling us NHIF ilikuwa na uwizi, lakini this one imekuwa worst. Hii sasa ndio inaipa sasa pesa kuliko NHIF. Na isitoshe, yesterday nilikuwa nashughulikia mtu yangu mgonjwa hospitali. She has to go a lot of problems. Yeah, signing, kufinya mkono, kufanya nini for 3 hours, imagine. Na ilikuwa mtu mgonjwa mpaka na admitiwa after 5 hours. Na wanatuambia eti NHIF SHA ni mzuri. Seriously, there's something need to be addressed urgently in this country. We have problem. In fact, we are not. They are heading to a bad situation. Please, kindly, they need to adjust and change. Thank you.
Mkazi wa Bureti, the government of His Excellency, the President of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto. Dr. William Ruto has done a lot of things to this country. I want to start with the rollout of SHA. Initially, there had difficulties, but now, here being a Lieutenant Mission Hospital, and we are here, we witnessed that there has been a lot of improvement. What we only want to advise the President is that on the outpatient cover, it needs to be unlimited, and for the chronic diseases, also we expect that it should be unlimited, so that families may no longer sell land to be able to get treatment. On the issue of affordable housing, the President has done quite well. We all know that even here in the village, there are people who are landless, and it's a big problem. Employment also is another big problem. And through affordable housing, the President has been able to give us jobs and now housing. And we expect that by 2027, the housing project will have done a lot of, will have given us a lot of impact, especially the youth of Kenya. And as a professional quantity surveyor and other engineers, I know many of us are doing those projects, and it is really helping. We want to ask the president to continue with the work, and we want to confirm that here in Kericho, Litein, sisi tuko 2 term. Asanteni sana.
Kibaki at 3, if you juxtapose with Ruto at 3, Ruto has done much more than Kibaki at 3. Remember, at 3 years, Kibaki lost a referendum at 3 years in his office because Kenyans had become so tired about his regime and all the attendant failures during that period, to the extent that when Kenya went into a referendum to pass the new constitution, which was dubbed Kilifi draft or Amos Wako draft, he lost so resoundingly.
Kwa majina yangu naitwa Mary Kawela. Mimi ni mkaanji wa hapa Nithi, nauza matunda hapa karibu na Nithi. Aya, mimi ni kushukuru Mungu, kuambia Mungu ni asanti kwa maana ametutimisia ndoto yenye tulikuwa tunaomba. Ameweka Ruto mawazo ya kututengenezea hii daraja ya Nithi. Tunaambia Ruto ni asanti sana. Tunamwambia hata Mkendeke tunamshukuru kwa sababu ametutimisia hiyo ndoto. Tulikuwa na uchuni mwingi sana kwa hao watu wetu walikuwa wanakufia hapa Nithi. Kama ile mbasi ilianguka, sijui mwezi gani ilianguka, ikaua watu wengi sana. Tulikuwa na uchuni mwingi, tulisikia uchuni mwingi sana kwa sababu sio watu wa Tharaka Nithi peke yao, ni watu wa hinzi yote waliaga kwa hiyo mbasi. Tunasema ni asanti sana. Tunamshukuru Ruto, tunamwambia 2027 tuko pamoja.
Langu ni Karambu kutoka huku Medhero. Mimi na shukrani sana kutoka kwa hiyo darasa hiyo ya Tharaka Nithi. Tunasema hiyo ikitengenezwa tutasema asanti. Tunasema shukrani sana. Kwa hiyo anakuja kututengenezea hiyo darasa ya Nithi. Ajali itaisha kabisa kwa sababu watu wanakufa wengi na sio wa Meru, sio wa Tharaka Nithi, wanakufa Kenya mzima. Sasa tunasema asanti.
Manjina ni Teresa Mkwanjage kutoka Mideru. Tuambia Ruto amesema vitu vizuri, tuambia atakuja kututengenezea hiyo darasa ya Nithi. Na tulimwambia akuje atutengenezee, na sisi tutakuwa tukifurahi sana kwa sababu kulikuwa watu wengine wengi sana walikufia hapo Nithi. Na ni watu wetu wa Mideru wa pengine tengenezwa ajali itafungua. Tutafurahi sana.
Keni Miriti, daraja yetu tungefurahi sana wakati itatengenezwa, sababu imetumalizia watu wengi sana Kenya mzima, almost Kenya mzima. Hata njana hii kuna gari ilikuwa karibu yanguke hapo.
President William Ruto 3 years in office has delivered and performed beyond our expectations. William Ruto kama rais wa Kenya kutoka 2022 mpaka sasa 2025, he has performed and delivered beyond our expectations. Hatukuwa tunatarajia kama William Ruto unaweza perform hivi. For example, unajua Ruto akiingia 2022 alikuwa anatuambia pale NHIF, that is health sector. Tulikuwa na wakora wengi sana pale na wauni wengi sana. Na it was very difficult to reform NHIF. Akakuja akaform wiki tunaitwa SHA, which is working very well. Apart from just a few shortcomings, but SHA is working. Mimi mwenyewe nimekuwa hospitali and I know SHA is working. Na unajua wakati wa NHIF ilikuwa ina cover to only 6 million Kenyans. Out of 50 million Kenyans, SHA had only 6 million Kenyans who were registered under NHIF. Lakini as we speak today, hii SHA yenye iko ina cover more than half of Kenyans. More than 25 million Kenyans are registered under SHA. Is that not an achievement? Hiyo si ni kitu mzuri amefanya? Jamani, mtu akifanya kitu mzuri tumpigie makofi, tumwambie hapo umefanya kitu mzuri. William Ruto akiingia alikuwa anatuambia ataandika walimu. As we speak today, he has employed over 70,000 teachers. More than 70,000 teachers have been employed by William Ruto. Hiyo ni achievement, si achievement. We should clap for him. Tunafaa tumwambie hapa, rais, umefanya vizuri. Ulikuwa umetupromise utaandika walimu 1,100. Lakini so far umeandika 7,000 teachers ambao kutoka tupate uhuru hakuna serikali yote hii Kenya ishawahi andika walimu kama hao. Kuja kwa agriculture sector. Muliona pale juzi Galana Kulalu walikuwa wameanza kukatana wanagawana. William Ruto ameingia saa hii ile mavuno tunangoja pale Galana Kulalu, yani hiyo mahindi ikiingia kwa soko hapa yetu Kenya hivi hata hatutaenda mahindi nje. Na kutoka William Ruto aingie. Sijui kama nyinyi mnasikianga ima na sijui kutoa mahindi nje. Kenya ili stabilize, kuna harvest, kuna nini, mvua ikakuja and everything. Haya, tukuje maneno ya Hustler Fund. William Ruto akiingia alikuwa anatuambia nitaleta hii mambo ya Hustler Fund. Akakuja akaleta Hustler Fund. As we speak today, according to the data, 26 million Kenyans have logged in Hustler Fund na wakachukua loan pale. Sasa niulize aje amedeliver hajadeliver. Alituambia vizuri nitaleta Hustler Fund, ameleta. 26 million Kenyans wamelog in pale wakachukua loan. Tugoanisha katikati kwa sababu kuna wale watu wa kuangi serious. 26 million divided by 2, that is 13 million. Kwa wale 13 wakando au maybe walikuwa jokers, walikuwa wanataka kuchukua tu 500 waende nayo. Ikabaki 13 million Kenyans. Hao wamebenefit. Kuna watu wamefungua biashara za kuuza mayai, kuna wengine wamefungua biashara ya kuuza kuku, kuna wengine wamefungua biashara ya kuuza vitu out of that Hustler Fund. Hiyo ni maendeleo, hiyo si maendeleo. Tukuje pale mambo ya sports. Kasarani ni amepiga facelift. Talanta Stadium ni ile pale inaendelea kujengwa. Inakuja kuisha. Muliona juzi chani tumehost hapa bila shida yote. Kasarani ilikuwa haya, Talanta ni hapa inaendelea, inakuja kuisha. Ni marais tu Moi na Ruto ndio wamejenga stadiums Kenya. Wale wengine ni walikuwa bure kabisa isipokuwa Kibaki was the best. Haya, tukuja mambo ya inflation. Ruto akichukua serikali in 2022, inflation ya Kenya, our economy ilikuwa at around 9 point something. As we speak today, inflation is around 3. Wale watu wanajua inflation, you know what I'm talking about. Haya, wakati Uhuru Kenyatta kuja kutoka, unga ilikuwa 250, sasa unga inachezea 140. Wakati Uhuru Kenyatta ulikuwa ukitembea kwa gari unatembea na kibuyu ya mafuta ya kununua mafuta ya gari. Mara utasikia kuna mafuta ya gari inauzwa kidogo unaingia pale petrol unanunua unatembea nayo kwa sababu hujui kesho yake kama kutakuwa na mafuta ya gari. As we speak today, kutoka William Ruto ingia, nyinyi msisikia mahali popote mafuta inakosekana nchi. Mafuta iko kila mahali. Haya, mambo ya affordable housing ndio hiyo. It has created over 700,000 jobs. Yani this guy has delivered beyond our expectations. Mimi personally, I never thought William Ruto is going to perform like the way he has performed in 3 years. Yani huyu jamaa in 3 years hata amemove our economy from an economy of 12 trillion. We are now at 17 trillion in 3 years. He has grown our economy by 5 trillion from 12 to 17. And according to IMF projections, by 2032, when he will be exiting power, we'll be having around 27 trillion economy. Yani, let me tell you one thing, guys. We need to give this guy a space. William Ruto is an agent of the agent of destiny in this country. Let us give him a chance. By 2032, I'm very sure everyone will be missing this guy. Atatoa scorecard yake hivi, development scorecard yake hivi, kila mtu atakuwa anakimbia. Anyway, wacha niwaambie kitu moja. And vitu mingi I can't quote all of them. Nimeongea tu zile ziko hapa juu zile naweza kumbuka. But there are so many. Mabarabara amejenga huko Ukambani, ile barabara ya Mali Ukia inajengwa, barabara ya Kangundo inajengwa. Kuna bridge nyingine iko, mimi naongelea zile mahali nimetoka Ukambani. Kuna bridge nyingine huko mahali inaitwa Mboni. Ilikuwa inasumbua sana. Imeenda imejengwa. Yani maendeleo ni yani left to right center, maendeleo iko kila mahali. Hivyo kwa stadium Kitui hiyo inajengwa. Yani maendeleo iko kila mahali. Yani tunasema KBB 10 bila break.
Two-term movement is unstoppable. For those who are still asking, why are we supporting William Ruto in two-term movement? This is why we are supporting William Ruto. 3-year scorecard of William Ruto. Number 1, economy stable. GDP rose from 17 trillion shilling. Inflation fell from 9.6% to 4.1%. The shilling strengthened from 162 to 129 per US dollar. Central bank lending rate dropped from 13% to 9.5%. Impact: lower cost of living, affordable credit, stronger trade. Number 2, healthcare for all. 25.5 million Kenyans insured under Taifa Care, up from 7 million. 107,831 health promoters deployed with 100,000 devices. Impact: healthcare is a right, no family burdened by medical bills. Number 3, better education. 76,000 teachers hired, 23,000 classrooms built. University funding increased from 45 billion to 82 billion shillings. Technical training enrollment rose from 290.
Those are say 2 term. This was say 1 term. They say watasema mambo ambayo rais amefanya vizuri. Wow. What a wow. That's what I feel from you. On your reactions to wanajaribu kuweka kusema mambo yenye Ruto amefanya mzuri yote. They trying to show that Ruto is a good boy, Ruto is an amazing person. I'll say the uzuri wake ndio hiyo. For the all goodness, I think until this one guy sema kwamba atishaye maanisha ni Shalini. So I don't know where can you get those concepts to give other people such kind of names. We'll be doing that, but surely let us just get to know more about this thing. Let's see these other reactions too.
Unatazama Sound Candy Talk Live.
Tumechoka na wewe. Tumechoka na wewe kabisa Ruto. Na mambo ni hiyo matatu. Hakuna kitu kingine ati tunaongea. Hakuna urudi ati juu ya meza utuambie sijui nini. Better tuende partyless, leaderless, tukue hivyo. Hakuna mambo mengine tunataka kuongea. Tumechoka na nyinyi. Na tunakugodha. Hatuna huo, nakwambia utazega. Ni lazima uzege. Na mambo itakuwa uta. Hakuna mambo mengine tunaongea. Unasikia? Uzege ukienda unaona marotejo za kwenda kwenye Sigoi. Hatukuna huo hiyo mambo yako. Hiyo ujinga. Uko na ufala nyingi kwa akili yako. Uko na ufala. Na nakwambia utaenda binguni, hata si binguni unaenda hela. Unafai uende hela wewe. Wewe Kenya ulifanya ukaua mpaka watoto. Haunanga huruma sana. Hauna huruma na watu wa Kenya.
First of all, Kasongo asikia ambiwe vijana tumeungana. Tumekuja pamoja na tunataka kuchukua uongozi wa nchi hii. Experience yenye yako nayo ni experience ya uongo. Sisi tuko na experience ya shida zenye Wakenya wanapitia. Na sisi ndio tuko na suluhisho ya shida ambazo Wakenya wanapitia. We are mothers, we are parents, we are sisters, we are brothers. We feel the pain of Kenyans and we have the solution. Na siulize plani yetu ni gani? Plani yetu ni yaende, sisi tufanye kazi.
Viva Wakenya, viva. Viva. Tekeleza katiba, tekeleza.
Lakini ni kitu ya uchungu. Sasa zile vijana wetu wanapewa couch machine, wanapewa pikipiki, lakini kijana yake ana launch bus 3. Hata kama tuna support broad based government, lakini the same time lazima tu criticize president. Mimi nataka niambie warembo wetu, tunaweza laumu huyo jamaa aliua huo mwanamke ambao si mzuri uue mtu. Lazima tu condemn kwa mwanamke. Ukiona ya kwamba mzigizani, wachana na mtu arudi kwao. But the same time lazima tuambie wasichana wetu kweli na wanawake kweli. Ukishaona mwanaume mwingine akupendezi, unataka kuingia kwa nyumba zile unataka, na unatoka zile unataka zikuulize swali, toka kwa nyumba yake polepole, ende rent nyumba yako, utapewa kizungu kubwa ya single mother, ukae uache huyu mtu achague mtu ambaye atampenda, kuliko uweke kiburi kwa nyumba ya mtu na utake kuulize swali. Kwa sababu watu wengi saa hii hawajui ile heshima ya wamama. Wengine walizaliwa na single mother, wengine walilelewa na single father, hawana heshima na wamama, na wengine hawana heshima ya mababa. So please, mwanaume ukiona msichana msigizani ama bibi ya mtoto wako msigizani, hii mambo ya kulazimisha ndoa in the name umezaa, kwani mmezaa Yesu ndiye anakuja kuokoa nchi? Lazima mkae hapo ni kama mmechoma na welding. Ikikuwa ni ngumu, wewe wacha mtu arudi kwao. Na wewe mwanamke ukiona ya kwamba huyu jamaa umpendi, sura yake kupendezi, toka rent nyumba yako, ende kwa huyo mtu anakupa.
Watu wa bunge hamjambo. Hii barabara hii barabara ya Moi Avenue hii nataka ikuwe improved to bitumen standards. Na hii barabara ikuwe barabara ya stima. Wewe mzee umekwisha ona barabara ya stima? Tayari tumetenga hapa bunge. Nimekwisha zungumza na huyu mjumbe wetu ili hapa bunge mjengewe bunge ambayo nyinyi wote mnaweza mkakaa ndani na msinyeshewe kukiwa na mvua. Kweli si kweli? Ni kweli si kweli? Vile vile tumetenga 200 million ili vijana wote ambao wako hii Nairobi waweze, na mtatumia hii wifi bure bila kulipa. Ni kweli si kweli? Ni kweli si kweli? Vile vile familia zote watakuwa wanaletewa mikate 2 asubuhi na maziwa jioni. Ni kweli si kweli? This is not a joke. In short, I'm trying to say, in short, na mtu aelewi pia, we don't blame you for not understanding. But what we are saying is that we have very many promises made, lakini they have not been accomplished. Now, here is the thing. Watu wetu wanauza miraa na wanauza coffee na wanauza tea. Alafu inakuwa processed outside, ndio inarudi kama finished product. Ukienda sahi kwa supermarket, coffee ni pesa ngapi? Ile grams 50 ndogo. Exactly. Na mtu alitoa hiyo coffee Murang'a ama Nyeri amelipwa pesa ngapi per kg? Angalia hiyo. So if we can invest in our industries in Kenya to the extent that we are able to produce agricultural products na tuweze kuziprocess na ifike finished products, alafu tuuzie wale watu kwa hiyo bei yenye wanatuuzia nayo sahi, we shall be growing rich. Lakini what we are doing is we are spending a lot of money on projects ambazo zinakuwa stalled, azimaliziki, lakini pesa zinaenda kwa mifuko za watu wengine. Saa hizi kuna vitu ambazo tunafaa tuongelele. We cannot have election without IEBC. State of the nation. We cannot have an election without IEBC. Ni sawa? Lakini juzi wameita puppets pale Kenya School of Government. Alafu wanapiga mapicha, wanawadanganya kwamba wamefanya nini? Engagement. Wame-engage the youths, wamefanya public participation.
That's what's going on. That's what's cooking. Kila jioni nitakuleta mikate jioni na maziwa. I think you're taking this country too far. You're taking this country so now. Please let us slow down. Let us take it easy. Let's be easy and make sure that we bring to the solution to every problem that we are suffering. I want to thank you for those who are gummy up, and then for those who are still pulling up. Let us continue pulling up and let's continue staying together. As we go for short commercial break, we'll be right back.
At Sound Candid Talk, we provide live UHD broadcasting for church services, talk shows and podcasts, weddings, live bands, products and services launches, webinars and trainings, Zoom meetings, conferences, seminars, exhibitions, and virtual concerts.
Marriage is one of life's most monumental decisions. It's not just about the wedding day or the ring. It's about committing your heart, mind, and soul to a lifelong partnership. But here's the big question. Are you really ready? Introducing Are You Marriage Ready? By Bernard Ngozi, a transformative ebook designed to guide you in building a successful and fulfilling union. This essential resource delves deep into personal growth, compatibility assessment, and the true meaning of marriage beyond the fairy tale. Learn how to reflect on your values, develop emotional resilience, and evaluate your relationship to ensure compatibility. This book opened my eyes to areas I needed to work on and helped me see my relationship in a new light. Jessica M. Available now for just $5, Are You Marriage Ready? Is accessible on all major platforms. Don't miss this opportunity to prepare yourself for one of life's most beautiful journeys. Follow the link in the description.
Welcome back. Thank you for those joining up after the break. We're still talking about the achievement of Ruto at 30. And then they've seen that we're speaking all around this all about just the SHA. I would like to know more about this SHA because that's the only achievement that people can point out, and yet they're still complaining over it. That's not working. Compatibility. Other complaint that I go with my patient in the hospital, then he stayed for 3 hours before the patient was admitted. So it's also risky for the patients who were on the verge of their wanting to ICU. So we'll be taking out more details for that. But what I want you to know is that we are moving it to make sure that everything comes to a point and comes to the place that it's supposed to be, as it's supposed to be. So this is more about SHA. That will be watching it as it waits for segment today. But don't go away. This is what's happening on SHA.
Of the Digital Health Agency. But for this quick fire round, we are joined first by Dr. Mwangangi, and we invite your questions. The hashtag is The Explainer at Citizen TV Kenya and at Yvonne Okwara. Any questions you have at a hospital, please do send them in. We'll endeavor to get as many of them answered as possible. Dr. Mwangangi, thank you very much for making time for us tonight.
Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you.
Let's start with the general perception. Even when we put out announcement that we were having you tonight,
yes,
many of the questions are about SHA not working. They've gone to the hospital for various reasons, both from service providers and from patients. There seems to be a general perception that SHA isn't working. Is it working, Dr. Mwangangi?
Thank you, Yvonne, for having me. And I was just looking at my phone right now and calculating. I joined SHA on the 3rd of June. And today marks 105 days since I joined SHA as the CEO. This is actually also the first engagement I've had in exactly SHA. Is SHA working? And I would say, yes, SHA is working. But I'd want to add on to say that perhaps what we need to do and how we have value in this conversation tonight is in explaining to Kenyans what SHA is. And you'll allow me to share a story. 2 weeks ago, I went to SEK Mbere for church service on a Sunday. And I sat next to the Mother Union president, and they were having a function celebrating mothers at the church. And when I was talking to them, one of the ladies sitting next to me asked me, what is the difference between SHA and SHIF, right? And I know a lot of us have been using a lot of jargon there. We hear people saying SHIF, SHA, SHISHA, even using that comically. And I'm here tonight to explain to Kenyans what exactly SHA is. SHA is an authority, and SHA has 3 funds within it. And that's really important because if you compare and contrast, and I've heard a lot of people saying NHIF was better or NHIF did this, SHA is doing this. One of the pivotal things that government did is to be able to set up 3 funds within one. And we have to ask ourselves, what were they trying to cure? Why set up 3 funds within one? And the first thing is that there was need for us to invest in primary healthcare services for all Kenyans. And I must say, I've been a health economist for 15 years, and I've worked in different administrations in the Kenyan government. And I can tell you, for the first time in Kenya, we actually have an investment in primary healthcare services. And Yvonne, this is why it matters. It matters because 85% of our health needs are catered for at the primary healthcare level. And so if we're going to have a scorecard on whether SHA is working or not, we need to ask ourselves, has SHA made an investment in primary healthcare services? And the answer is yes. And we have the numbers to back it up. I was looking at our data today, and when we look at primary healthcare services, in terms of providers, we have 9,000 facilities, 9,000, Yvonne, providing PHC services to Kenyans. When we look and ask ourselves, how many Kenyans have accessed these services? We have 5.5 million Kenyans in 10 months who've walked into a primary healthcare facility and accessed a PHC service. And when we look at our visits and counts that we've reimbursed, we've pushed into the primary healthcare system close to 8 billion. Now, Yvonne, why am I excited about this? I was serving in government 4 years ago, and I do know the budget that was available for primary healthcare services then was 1.9 billion Kenya shillings. And in 2 years, this number has gone up to 9 billion Kenya shillings. And when you unpack this, for the first time, we have Kenyans saying, before, in the NHIF model, I had to be placed to a facility. Now, in the SHA PHC model, I'm able to decide which facility I'll be able to seek services from. We used to have mechanisms where Kenyans would be told, go to that facility there, and yet that Kenyan would be living in Nairobi, but they've been capitated to a facility in Meru and told that is where you go and access your service. All that has changed with SHA. And so when we look at primary health care services, 8 billion injected into that space, a budget of 13 billion that's available this year.
So this 8 billion is for this financial year, current financial year?
For this financial, we've been able to, since the inception of SHA in October to date, we've been able to pay out close to 8 billion Kenya shillings. If we look at the new financial year, Parliament has allocated 13 billion Kenya shillings for primary healthcare. Yvonne, it used to be 1.9 billion.
And
it's
how
now
much?
13 billion.
How much has been paid out for this current financial year?
So in the current financial year, we've paid out about 2.9 billion because I think we're only 2 months into the new financial year. So for this quarter, that's 2.9 billion. And you know, Yvonne, one of the criticisms I've heard people say is that, you know, we've become very good at reporting numbers, payouts. But I want you to narrow down and look at the figure of 5 million Kenyans who've walked in to a health center, who've walked into a dispensary, who've walked into a level 4 hospital and accessed care and walked out without paying for that care. And I think the president has pronounced himself several times that Kenyans will be able to walk in and walk out from a level 2, a level 3, a level 4 outpatient facility and receive care. And that's happening. And that's profound. 5 million Kenyans served. So in that regard, I would say SHA is working. Now, when we walk through the Kenyan who's accessed their PHC levels, PHC level of care, received service, but requires more, then in comes what we call the SHIF fund. And I say today, I really want to go home and sleep well, having demystified to Kenyans what SHA is. It's 3 funds. The first fund takes care of your primary needs. So that's the PHC fund. And right now, like I've told you, you have an allocation of 13 billion. We've paid out 2.9 as of today, and we intend to go back to Parliament in supplementary processes and get at least another extra 7 billion. So by the end of this year, we'd be having 20 billion for PHC. Now, what happens when your cares are not taken, when your needs are not serviced at the primary healthcare level? In comes the secondary level of care. And the design of SHA was very deliberate, very, very deliberate in that we needed to ensure for the services that Kenyans need the most, which is 85% of our health needs, those can be served at the primary healthcare level, right? And when I've shared with you that 5 billion Kenyans have accessed that, the 2.26 million Kenyans that we keep talking about that have been registered into SHA actually have access to that primary healthcare level. If you're registered and expect that you are because you work for Citizen, then you have free choice of going to a level 2, 3, 4 facility and accessing care, walking in and walking out. So what happens when Yvonne perhaps needs a knee surgery, right? So a knee surgery would not ordinarily be available in a health center or a dispensary. You would have to go to a specialized facility, a secondary care facility. If you have to then go to a secondary care facility, then in kicks in what is known as a contributory fund. And for that, you would have to either give us 2.75% of your income if you're in the formal sector and you're employed. And if you don't have a pay slip, then you'd have to go through what we call means testing, which determines your premium. And I know there's a lot of noise in means testing, and I'll be demystifying that.
Yes,
shortly.
yeah, and no, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
So you then go under means process. Premium is data are having. And one of the things that is causing a lot of lack of understanding is the thinking that 25 or 26 million Kenyans have registered.
Okay.
Yet X amount have paid into shift.
All right. So let's understand that. How many registered on the portal? How many have registered with SHA?
I will answer that. But to answer that first, I want you to understand and to allow me to really demystify the authority, because I haven't talked about the third fund.
Okay.
It matters.
Okay.
It matters.
All right. Okay.
It matters,
Yes.
Yvonne.
Yes. And I'd like us to do that as because
you want me to move quickly?
Many questions.
Many questions. We'll answer all the questions. I have all the night for everyone today. So the third fund is the emergency fund.
Right.
The Constitution says every Kenyan must access emergency services. And so a fund was set up that allows Kenyans to be able to go into the facility and get 24-hour care, and to also get evacuation services. The design of the Social Health Authority is really a game changer for this country. And I want Kenyans to hear me and hear me right. The design, the blueprint is right. What we are working now is on implementing this blueprint and ensuring that it's able to serve us. But the blueprint is right. Now, when you ask me how many Kenyans are registered, as this morning, 26 million Kenyans have been registered, have self-registered, presented themselves and registered into the authority.
All right.
Now, Yvonne, because your next question is one of the myths that Kenyans are suffering on. Kenyans are saying, yes, 26 million Kenyans have registered into SHA. How many are paying into SHA?
Okay.
And that question is important because it means that we need to demystify this whole project in terms of how we've designed it.
So those who are registered at 26 million,
26 million.
Yes. How many are paying? Let's start.
In
total.
26 million Kenyans are registered. 26 million Kenyans can access PHC services for free.
Yeah.
That's really important.
Understood.
Now, out of the 26 million Kenyans, we have Kenyans in the formal sector and the informal sector. In the informal sector, impressive data, we have 800,000. So 887 Kenyans who are in the formal sector, non-pay slip Kenyans who've paid in for SHA. So if I open the system right now and ask myself how many Kenyans do not have pay slips and are paying into SHA, we're close to almost 1 million Kenyans.
Okay, and how many?
When we look at the formal sector,
how many is salaried?
4 million.
So that's 4 million?
Yes, 4 million plus 800,000. So that's about 4.8 million Kenyans who are paying into the contributory fund, meaning those 4 million Kenyans are the ones who then have access or eligibility for that fund.
All right, sorry, let's understand. 887,000 non-salaried.
Yes, non-salaried, yes.
And the salaried are how many?
About 4 million.
4 million.
Yes.
We had one of your staff here just yesterday in the morning who talked about 3.3 million in the formal sector who are salaried. Has that number since jumped by?
So I want to explain to you how we do
600 million over the last 24 hours?
Not a problem, Yvonne. I have the system right here and I'll be able to share with you the figures. So how we do our formal sector contributions is that we have self-declarations from employers. So you, for example, in Citizen, whoever heads your HR department will be able to come in and say, Citizen Media House has 10,000 employees registered, earning these salaries, and therefore 2.75% deductions of these 10,000 employees is equals to X amount. And so the figure keeps changing. And so when we average out our figures, we have about 4 million formal sector contributors coming into SHA.
These are 4 million people with
4 million, 4 million, let me call it 4 million pay slips. Yes.
How many people are actually salaried in the country based on data from iTax?
So
because that number would be about 3.3 million.
Very good. So you have, in fact, one of the things that's impressive.
4 million.
Yes. So how we categorize a formal employer in SHA may be a little bit different from how KRA would categorize this. And I'll share this with you. SHA actually has more declarations of Kenyans who are saying, I have this little SME that I'm running, and I have 5 or 10 employees in this SME that I'm servicing.
But those are not salaried.
No, they are. So for example, if you run a kiosk, right? So you have your kiosk and you have your employees and you're paying into SHA, you come in and you self-declare that in this little kiosk or in this little supermarket or hotel of mine, I have 2 cooks, I have 10 waiters, and these employees are the ones who are going to pay according to the pay slips that I'm generating. So SHA actually has more data than KRA when it comes to contributions into the fund.
So this is an improvement from the numbers that were given on the show yesterday morning, which was at 3.3 million. I'm just trying to understand that.
So I know
that's a huge.
No.
That's a
so
huge gap.
I know you're saying that, hey, have 600 people suddenly join.
Right. From
within 1 month.
No, within 1 day. Because these are figures that were given on Daybreak that was hosted by my colleague here yesterday.
I'm here sitting with our collections.
Okay.
And it's okay. The colleague may have made an error in numbers.
So we go
but
with
we
your
do
figure
have
of
our
4
data.
million.
Yes, we do have our data, 4 million people. And Yvonne, you've raised an important point. When you think of industries, right? So look at the hotel industry. If I was to ask you, could you enumerate for me, even from the iTax data or even the KNBS data, what the hotel industry figures look like? SHA actually has numbers because Kenyans are demanding that health service. And these employers have actually declared these people as their employees and are actually paying into the fund.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 4 million salaried, 887,000 non-salaried.
Yes.
How much is the contribution, let's say, as of today?
So in our collections to date, and I was just sharing this with the governor of Murang'a, who's going to one of your stations here, that in the lifetime of NHIF, total collections that NHIF ever made actually touched around 45 billion Kenya shillings. To date, SHA has been able to receive close to 8 billion for the primary healthcare fund. We've been able to receive close to 5.9 billion for the emergency chronic illnesses fund. And then we've been able to get collections of close to 54 billion for the SHIFT fund. So if you add all that up and look at also the public servant scheme, which recently received 4 billion for, as well as indigents who are covered by government. We have about 500 million and 30 million for orphans and vulnerable groups. Our collections to date almost stand at almost 70 billion.
Okay, let's talk about SHIFT. Just how much collected from SHIFT?
So SHIFT, on average, from October to date, we started averaging around 6.5 B every week collected.
6.5 billion per week.
Yes, and per month. So it's from October.
Yeah.
So in October, our collections are a little bit low, and they've been tearing up to about 6.5, 6.7, 6.8, 6.9.
So now, if we say
right
we're
now,
at 11 months?
At 11 months, close to almost 50 billion plus collected. Yes, and I'll confirm that for you right now. Yes.
And what are the claims?
So when we look at our claims, one, I'll start again with the primary healthcare fund.
No, let's just focus on SHIFT for a minute. We will talk about the other funds. I'd like us to focus on one by one.
Okay.
So SHIFT, you said an average of 6.5 billion.
An average of 6.5 billion collected a month.
Okay.
And as I share with you the number of claims, it's important to be very clear on this, because I've seen a lot of your panelists come in here and say X amount of claims submitted. A claim submitted to SHA is not equals to a claim approved. Now, if I look at the claims submitted for the month of August, no, I'm going to get into it. No, I'm coming there. By the way, on full disclosure tonight, we will share with you everything that you need.
So
in terms of our claims
that have been made,
right?
Yeah.
So in terms of claims that have been set into the system so far, they come to around 80 billion.
Okay.
In terms of claims, 82 billion. Those claims are claims submitted.
Okay.
Now, for SHA to actually pay out a claim, it has to go through verification. Some of those claims, Yvonne, will be approved for payment. Some of those claims will be rejected with various reasons. Some of those claims will be sent back to the provider for additional documentation for us to be able to make a decision. So when we look at our servicing of providers, of all the claims that have been lodged to date, our contracts actually state that our providers should be serviced within a 90-day period. Where are we today? We're close to almost, so let me categorize this into ownership. For public facilities, these are county providers, we've settled their claims to a rate of 69 to 70%. When we come to FBO facilities, they range between 65 to 69%. When we come to private facilities, they range on the lower band of 65%. And if we look at the fulfillment of our contracts, which should be fulfilled within 90 days, we'll be able to say that most of our facilities are within that 90 days, and a few are above those 90 days. Those that are above 90 days, Yvonne, may be having claims that are rejected, may be having claims that have missing documents, may be having claims that need to undergo surveillance. And it's important for all of us to understand claims submitted is not equal to claims paid outright.
So let's talk about some of those claims that have been rejected. How much, in terms of claims, has been rejected by SHA?
So to date, we have rejected 10.7 billion.
10.7, okay.
And
could you inform us the status of the investigations now? Because we understand.
We'll get into that. Oh yes, we'll get into that. So not a problem.
Yeah, let me just understand. Let's go. We'll go step by step. That's fine. So 10.7 billion has been rejected.
Yes.
With allegations of fraud. Can you tell us, break it down by facilities, like just the way you've done in terms of public, private, faith-based?
So fantastic. So when it comes to fraud, I want us to all understand the insurance industry, particularly medical insurance industry, has a rate of almost 20 to 30% of fraud globally. Let that sink in, Yvonne. Globally, not Kenya, not Uganda.
All right.
It's important because
Dr.
I'm coming to your answer.
Yes, I would like us to also just move it along. So out of the 10.7, let's just answer the question.
Yes.
Please break it down.
Yes.
How much of this was from public facilities, from faith-based, and from private?
So, Yvonne, I'll come
before
to
we get to the global statistics.
No. But global is important.
That's fine. We can set the context
now.
after. The whole idea of how that verification process is done is a topic on its own, and we will come to that.
Okay.
I'd just like us to go step by step first. This 10.7, could you give us the breakdown? We will come back and understand the verification process.
So, out of the 10.7 billion, I do not have figures that I'll give you right now that public facilities is X amount, FBO is Y amount, private is Y amount, because this is a continuous process. For example, as the team has been doing their claims verification today, we actually have a new set of 80 facilities who've been discovered to be fraudulent, and we'll be releasing that this Friday.
Okay, is this separate from the 10.6? Because I just want to understand that.
Yeah. So every time a claim is lodged, every claim paying season, we actually determine a claim that is fraudulent.
We'll get to those ones.
Yes.
I understand it's a dynamic situation that evolves.
So now,
can we just speak about the 10.7 that you've talked about?
Yes. And let me break it down for you. You've asked me how much is that is due to or attributable to the private sector. I can tell you the number of facilities, but I wouldn't be able to tell you in proportions,
how many facilities?
Right? So right now we've submitted a list to DCI of 1,118 facilities that are under investigation. 1,118 facilities.
Okay.
Out of that list, 85 of those facilities have been blatantly been determined to be fraudulent, and there's a criminal investigation that's going through the justice system. Out of those facilities, we have about 100 and I think it should be 51, and I can always give you a written statement with these figures later, of facilities who also have been determined to have fraudulent claims, and particularly trading in tiers of care which are not appropriate to their licensure.
Okay.
Right? And so all these facilities have been submitted to the DCI. I'll come back, or I'll share with you a statement on what the proportions look like, ownership, that we can do later.
And can you tell us the progress of the investigations of the DCI?
The progress is underway. Teams have been able to visit different facilities. Just today, I got feedback from that team that they've gone to different parts of the country. The 85 facilities I've talked about have been visited. They've gone in, they've looked at their files, they're investigating, and they should be able to share with us a report within the next 10 days.
Okay, some of the service providers have raised concerns about data privacy for patients, particularly from the DCI, who are then going in and seeking, doctors' notes, as well as private patient information.
Yes.
In what way are you preventing, patient or rather upholding patient confidentiality in an investigation such as this? Because there is a huge concern around that.
So we've actually received that feedback from providers in two manners. Some providers have come in to say, no, we don't want to attach our theatre notes to your claims because that's infringing on patient privacy.
Yeah.
One, our act actually allows SHA to be able to engage with patient data, and patients do actually give consent by visiting the facility and by filling in claimant forms to be able to have SHA access that data.
But that does not extend to the DCI,
No. When it comes to our contracts implementation, DCI actually has that in our law. If you do commit a fraudulent claim and submit into SHA, there are actually contractual terms that govern what SHA would do, including fines, including criminal prosecution. That's actually in the Act. Now, the data that then DCI are able to have is then governed by the data protection of our Act, as well as the DHA Act that actually protects that patient data.
Okay.
And so it's all protected. It's all within the law. No data will be shared. And remember, DCI have been doing these investigations years back. Even during NHIF days, DCI was still very active investigating. There's no way, and I want us to be very clear, there's no way we will know if this claim is legitimate if we are not able to assess the claim and determine that the surgery took place, that the birth or the delivery took place. How would SHA pay? On trust? Is that what we'd be doing? Paying on trust that the doctor did the procedure? We can't. And no insurance company does that globally.
One quick question before we take a break, because you say SHA is working. The service providers seem to hold a different view.
True.
Let's talk about RUPA, which is the Rural Private Health Association practitioners. They have a countdown. By Friday, they say they will be suspending SHA services. They're asking you to speak with them. They're saying you are not talking to them. They have many facilities under this umbrella association. Could this be a potential public health access crisis? And what are you doing about it?
That's a really good question, and it's embarrassing when they say that we're not speaking with them, because just in the last week, I've actually met the Association of Private Hospitals in the hospital, in the SHA building, to be able to discuss provider issues and what they're facing. Yvonne, it's almost, sacrilege for a provider to decide to pull out of a contract that they've gotten into SHA and not offer services into Kenya. Our contract actually states very clearly that if a provider backs out from the contract and rejects a Kenyan from visiting their facility, that's actually a contractual flaw.
So are there calls valid? No. We'll get to the contract.
No. Wait. You've asked me, are we engaging with RUFA?
Are you?
And the answer is we are engaging with all providers and all hospitals, because our contracts, Yvonne, the contracts I have in my system are with specific hospitals. There's no hospital that has come in to SHA and has been turned away or not engaged. And that's important for us to note. Number two, every provider in the country has a right to exercise their contract and to decide if they want to offer service or not. If they withdraw service from Kenyans, then that's a move that they've made in terms of their contracts. And then SHA would have to then withdraw engagement with them.
All right, okay.
Yes.
As we go to a break, again, 6.5 billion is collected on average for the last 11 months.
Every month. Well, in the beginning, as we were trying to bring in Kenyans, the collections were not as high as 6.5 billion. By the time we got to February, March, April, they stabilized around 6 billion. And I was just sharing with the governor from Murang'a, we are close to hitting 8 billion in collections.
So from March to date is how many months? March, April, May, June,
April, May, June, July,
August.
So
that's
just come to an end. So in August, our collections are above 7 billion.
So 6.5, if we did that times 7, right, that would be 45.5 billion.
More,
at least, at least
more.
for these last. So where would you put it at?
I would say probably above, I'll check for you right now as you get into your break, but above 50 billion, which is remarkable.
Okay, because an average of 6.5 billion for 11 months is more than 50 billion.
Exactly. I'll just pull it out for you, Yvonne, shortly.
Okay.
Right now.
We'll come back.
Yeah.
We have lots to talk about.
We have a lot to talk about.
Let's take a break.
Yeah.
When we come back, we'll also be speaking with the CEO of the Digital Health Authority to get an understanding of how they both work and the services that they are providing to Kenyans. Welcome back after the break. So let's take that break now. Where do we take it? Here or there? There we are. There we are. So let's take that break now. Back in a moment with some more news, and then we're back with this discussion on access to health services. Aisha.
Kutoka vijijini, mijini hadi jijini. Hii ni Sound Kanti Talk Live.
Who can answer your questions and your queries and get a clarification. We're now joined by Anthony Lenayara, who's the CEO of the Digital Health Agency. Anthony, thank you for joining us. Welcome. Let's start with you for a minute and just talk about the Digital Health Agency and the system that you're using to run SHA. I would like to understand the role that you play in terms of claims and how you run the system and how that relates with the work that SHA does. So tell us about this system. Where does it reside? Does it reside with DHA or does it reside with SHA?
Thank you so much, Yvonne, and I'm happy to be here to explain to Kenyans on our role first as Digital Health Agency. We are a government agency that is formed under the Digital Health Act of 2023. We are the technology arm of universal health coverage. And therefore, because of that, SHA is one of the many organizations that we are supporting to digitize within the whole health ecosystem. And our role for SHA is very easy and clear. One is to support SHA in the digitization process. And when you look at digitization, I want you to figure it out in three key areas. One, there is the development of the technology. That's why we are mostly engineers, because we support SHA to get the best technology that they can use for their services. Two, after we develop, we also support them to maintain that system. And as we do the maintenance of that system, we support them to solve any technical issues that they might have in implementation of SHA. But outside that, because SHA doesn't work in isolation, we help SHA in what is called interoperability. So if you look at this system, by the way, we are doing around 38 systems. It's a whole ecosystem. And this ecosystem looks at the patient, it looks at the doctor, it looks at the regulator, it looks at the person who's doing the insurance, it looks at the facility that's providing that services. Now, when SHA provides insurance services, they need all this system to be able to make a decision of whether their claims have been done correctly or have been done in accordance to the access rules. Now, who does the access rules to say a claims need to be processed like this? That is the user, which is SHA. So they tell us, for example, for these specific claims, the access rules, how to access it. If it's maternity, for example, you must be, female. You can't use more than these. These are how your benefits are. This is how the data needs to come in. These are the supporting documents, all that. Our work is to digitize that.
Okay.
Who operates the system?
Who operates the system and who runs it?
So the system is operated and run by SHA.
Where does it reside? Where is that domiciled?
So let me come first there. So number one, any operations of the system, any approval that is not digitized, that means we don't use technology to say whether it's done properly or not. The approvals and all those operations are done by SHA.
Okay.
Where does the system reside? That is a very important question. So these 38 systems, and each actually of them have another 3 subsystems, they reside in what we call sovereign health cloud, which is built by the agency.
And who manages that?
This sovereign health cloud is managed by the Digital Health Agency. And we don't manage it because we want it. It is in the law. It is in the Digital Health Act that says every health data, even whether by SHA or by everybody else, is stored at the custody of the Digital Health Agency. By the way, Kenya is one of the first countries after South Africa that has an agency dedicated for this. And
so they provide you with the data that says, you know, for instance, a hysterectomy can only be conducted on a woman and not a man, and everything else, right?
Yes, they provide us with the rules.
So they provide you with the rules.
Yes.
Then you keep the data.
We digitize those
when
rules
a claim,
and keep the data.
All right.
Yeah.
So when a claim is made,
yes.
Say by a health official,
yes.
Where does that claim go to in the system?
So if you look at those systems,
who processes that claim?
Yeah. So if you look at those systems, those are several systems. And that's why you need to look at it holistically. Number one, there is what is called point of care service system, which is at the facility. For this case, for example, for SHA, during the transition period, we provided what is called a provider portal. Why? Because we are digitizing every facility, especially public facility in Kenya. When we finish, every public facility will have their hospital management information system, just the way Nairobi Hospital has. Once you have that, you integrate to what is called a payer system. This is the engine that processes the claim.
So who?
This engine.
Yeah. So who runs that engine?
So this engine, all digitized rules are run automatically in the system. All data visible, access provided to all appointed SHA officers. Okay? Now, in case there is a rule that is not yet fully digitized and we need an expert to check, to give an approval, that is also approved by the user,
okay.
Which is SHA.
So let's just go step by step.
Let's go step by step
with these questions.
Thank you.
Because I want to keep it simple.
Yes.
When a claim is made, right, or even an approval is sought by a healthcare facility or a healthcare practitioner, where does that claim go?
So when a claim...
To what system? This SHA system, right?
Yes.
That SHA system is run by DHA?
So the SHA system is operated by SHA. It is developed and maintained by DHA.
Okay. Let me ask this question. So within SHA, who exactly in SHA is the one running and managing the system?
Wow. Yvonne.
Do you have is there an ICT
Yvonne, I want
department?
to answer your question, but we have a problem. During the break, I'm getting feedback that you're not allowing me to speak, and Kenyans are telling me you're not giving me time to explain. So this time round, Yvonne, give
Dr.
me time.
Mangangi, let's
get to
deal with that claim now.
Yes,
for a moment.
yes. You've asked me who manages claims.
Hang on one moment. For what was meant to be an 8-minute segment,
Yvonne,
we gave you 18 minutes.
You did very well, Yvonne, but you should let me explain.
Good.
It's the feedback we're getting from Kenyans.
Actually, it was 30
So let's
minutes.
get into it.
So I just have a question. What will also work in this arrangement is let's move step by step.
Correct.
And not try to anticipate.
Correct.
So it's just a simple question, which would be, Dr. Mangangi, allow me to ask, can I ask a question?
Yes, please, go
Can I ask a question?
And then you let me answer. Go for it.
Okay. So let's keep it
Very good.
ICT department. Yes or no?
Very good. Yes,
How
we
many?
do have an ICT
How many
department.
staff? How is that run? It's
Okay.
a simple
Very
question.
good. Now, Yvonne, I need to take you through a claim so that I can tell you the different officers within SHA who manage that claim.
Yes.
Now, we have what Anthony was explaining is a provider portal. These 9,000 providers who've been offering shift services, how do they ensure that SHA knows that that service has been given? They have to lodge the claim in what is known as a provider portal. Now, that provider portal, for example, Aga Khan, Coptic, Tumutumu, Kijabe, would have access to the provider portal and would be able to lodge a claim. Now, there are dashboards within that provider portal where we have SHA members who work with providers, beneficiaries, and claims who are able on aggregate to tell on every day, every month, in real time, these are the accounts. So as we sit right now, Anthony has his tablet, I have my phone. I'm able to tell you right now, these are the claims that have come in to the provider portal. Now, once the claims move from the provider portal, they go to the payer portal. The payer portal is an important system. That is the one that SHA utilizes to adjudicate a claim, to decide, is this claim valid or not?
Yes.
The payer portal is available to the claims department within the organization, so SHA. And we have different claims officers who have rights to the payer portal, who are able to tell, Tumutumu has submitted claims worth 12 million, and here is how they look like. Per claim number, per claim date submission, per time, per Kenyan. So all that data is available. These people, and there are about 25 of them, they sit and look at the claims as they come in. They decide, one, this claim is a claim for maternity. Is this a female? Remember, checks have already been put in the engine rooms, right? Is this a female? Was she at Tumutumu? Is this the surgeon who operated on her for this maternity case? Was there a live birth? Was this a real birth? Is there a birth notification attached? And then with that, that is okayed and approved, and the claim passes on to what is known as the ERP, which we use for payment. So then that claim is pushed down, and at the ERP process, we then conduct finance procedures to ensure, again, that the claim is legitimate, and then it's collected into what is known as a bank file. So you've asked, who in SHA has access to this system? SHA officials from different directorates, based on their mandates, actually have access to the provider portal, to the payer portal, and to the ERP.
And the ERP is housed?
The ERP is a system, yes, again, developed, maintained by DHA and housed in SHA. My team, my finance team, has absolute right and access to the ERP. Yes.
Okay. Now, here's a question, because Kotu had raised an issue on this very system. On the 26th of August, they put out a statement demanding what they call full autonomy of Social Health Authority, that's SHA, over the IT systems. They said that the operations at SHA are entirely dependent on an IT platform that remains under the full control of both DHA, that's the Digital Health Authority, and the Ministry of Health, instead of being independently managed by SHA itself. Then they say the act that established SHA does not subordinate it either to the Digital Health Authority or the Ministry of Health. And they say that this process has created serious loopholes because SHA has no authority to authenticate and verify claims because all of that resides with the Digital Health Authority. So could you clarify this? And is Kotu says they have raised these concerns because they are a member of the board of SHA. They say no action has been taken. They say they'll be forced to either reconsider their position as to whether to continue sitting on a board that has no authority at all to withdraw entirely. So your response to this?
So thanks, Yvonne. I'm very familiar with that statement by SG. And it's important for us to understand that the SHA system is perhaps, and I say this with all due respect, having served and sat with SG in various other capacities, the SHA system is a game changer in how we are managing the healthcare system in Kenya. Now, when SG says that SHA has no authority to review claims, to adjudicate claims, and to pay,
has
that is
basically
false.
no authority over
that is false,
the system.
Yvonne.
Okay.
I'm the accounting officer of the Social Health Authority. As the accounting officer, there are laws and mandates that govern the work that I do. I cannot pay, Yvonne, and this is really important, I cannot pay for a claim that I'm not satisfied has been adjudicated by my claims department and has been certified by my finance department and is ready for payment. And I want Kenyans to really understand that no claim will be paid out of SHA that hasn't gone through proper adjudication, owned by SHA personnel, and me as the accounting officer in SHA paying out that claim. Number two, Yvonne, people do not understand the current new health architecture and the digital superhighway as it's designed. And it's going to be really important you use this opportunity for us to unpack it. Previously, NHIF had its system. And NHIF had what I would call disparate systems. And towards the end of its term and its life, had a system that was called the e-claim system. Yvonne, this system actually underwent various audit processes that determined that the system was not able to service claims under the NHIF era. And what were the issues that were in that system? One, the system was not able to give us a true health picture of claims submitted. And Anthony has talked about HMISs. HMISs are essentially what you see in Europe, where you forget about paper, all this is discarded, and everything is digitized. That is where Kenya is right now, and that's where we are walking to. And to date, if I'm not wrong, Anthony, close to 5 counties have already digitized their systems in a manner where the claim is lodged digitally. That never used to happen. I remember in 2022 going to the Nyeri branch in NHIF and finding a whole room full of batch files, manual paper files, that then QA officers had to open, review to determine whether a claim was legitimate or not. That is no longer happening, right? So when we hear Kenyans, and that includes my senior, who I respect heavily, SG, saying that SHA doesn't have authority to review claims and to pay out claims, that is not true. And perhaps what we need to do is to really unpack what we're trying to build in terms of the digital superhighway. I'll give you another example. Previously, in the NHI system, there was no way of authenticating whether this is Mercy of license number 222 and she's a doctor and that she has performed this knee surgery. That never used to happen in the NHI system. Right now, SHA is able to pull data from the health workers registry to determine Dr. Ogutu is a surgeon, is an orthopedic, he's licensed, he's up to date, and he's able to offer that service. And so for me, speaking as an accounting officer, we have a system that's far more superior, but perhaps people haven't understood it.
Okay. Is it working? Is it working as it should, or as it's been envisioned to?
I would say that we have to appreciate that systems always take time. For example, the other day, during the COVID scourge, I remember Zoom and Microsoft having to update their systems and get them ready and more mature. That is something that we are still facing as we try to improve our systems. But our system's able right now to look at a claim, determine its authenticity, yes. Determine whether this Kenyan actually got a service, yes, we're able to do that. Determine whether this claim amount that was pre-authorized is what should be paid, yes, once we review the invoices that are attached, and then determine that this claim should be paid for. That is happening. Does our system have better capabilities than what was there before? Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
I want us to listen to the CEO of Mbagathi Hospital, who was here, who spoke about the systems and some of the glitches, and he expressed his frustrations. Let's listen.
Yes.
The issue of ICT, for example, sometimes they are down, other times errors. To clear that error takes 48 hours. When you try to reach out, there's nobody to sort that issue out.
Yeah.
Now, when pre-auths are done, and you raise claims, majority of those claims, or a good percentage, are rejected. The reasons given, okay, are not logical. When you attempt to correct those errors, there's nobody to attend to you. And this is healthcare services, okay? So those are some of the questions we need the defunct NHIF Board of Management and the executive team to explain to Kenyans. Why are you not ready? Because you had a 1-year transition period.
So that is a practitioner who's running a public facility. Yes. It's a referral facility, who's expressing a frustration with the system. He's not alone. The Kenya Medical Association has just this evening put out a statement talking about the very same system issues. And in fact, like you've taken us through the claims process and how that works, they are complaining that this is what they say. These challenges include significant delays in remitting payments to healthcare facilities and systemic issues with the Practice 360 platform. And they say this has a direct impact on their ability to provide services and service delivery. And they say it poses an existential threat to the sustainability of any insurance fund. Rupa is raising the same issues. Could it be that members of the Kenya Medical Association, members of the private hospitals, those like we see from Mbagathi, all say there's a problem with the system, but you're both here saying the system works just fine. But those are the users of the system. So is there a challenge with the system? What are the challenges that you see from your end? And what are you doing to mitigate them?
Good. I'll start us off and then Anthony will come in. Yvonne, change is difficult. Change is difficult to embrace and to implement. Most providers have been trading with an organization that's been in existence for 60 years that has since been repealed. We now have a new system, and some of the challenges that we're hearing providers facing, one, start from a point of capacity. Dr. Irungu, I'm very familiar with him in Bagavi. I know the hospital and I know the man himself. I can pull out claims from that hospital where there's absolute poor documentation, where you have doctors submitting case notes. And because of our system, we're able to open those case notes and we're not really able to decipher what the diagnosis was. Now, this is what is happening. There used to be a laxity. NHIF didn't require all these documents you're asking for. NHIF didn't require for us to know whether you're a licensed doctor. NHIF did not even require a duly filled discharge summary form. NHIF system did not check what was pre-authorized for and what was discharged for. I've heard Dr. Irungu say some of the things that are being rejected, we don't understand. Yvonne, there is no way SHA will pay for a claim submitted as malaria but discharged on antibiotics. We won't do that. And that's what we are finding out now. So our providers are having angst and difficulty in embracing the new system. Number two, some providers are saying, come to us and teach us. Give us more capacity training on the system. And those cries we have heard.
So is it a user problem?
There's a user problem.
So the system is just fine. It's the users that are the problem?
Oh, yes, Yvonne.
So there is absolutely no issue with the system?
We would even want to, at a time, show Kenyans what the system looks like so that you can see the immensity of data and the volumes of data we have. I have a practitioner who the other day called me and asked me, this was Pandya Hospital actually in Mombasa, and they said, Daktari, we need help in how to code switch within the system. This patient has come in with this diagnosis. We went in, we found that there was this other problem, but we just do not know how to code switch so that we are able to then introduce this new claim. So our providers are getting anxious because they're saying they need to learn more on how to use this system. And SHA has had that cry. We haven't done the best of jobs in being able to engage them frequently and on time, and we are setting out schedules to train them. The second thing, Yvonne, that's happening is this system is infringing, particularly on points where there were fraud before. For example, for the app that Dr. Gikondu has raised, and I know Dr. Gikondu very well, having been a member of KMA myself in the past, that application actually forbids a surgeon from approving a surgery in Mombasa and performing it in Mandera. That's what was happening before.
And let's talk about that, because some of them raise an issue with that to this very basic point, and help me understand. You might be, you serve patients here and in Mombasa.
True.
Okay.
True.
And you have a patient in Mombasa that requires a procedure maybe in the next 2 days.
Yes.
But you are performing, you're seeing patients.
In Nairobi.
You've got clinic and everything. Are you not able to then process that? Because that's another issue that you hear doctors raising, that this is legit, but do I then have to travel there just to approve that? And then there is a delay. And the reason that you are not in Mombasa is a legitimate one, that you are, held up in Embu or Meru or...
So Yvonne...
So maybe I want to...
let's just understand the rationale for this, because they're complaining that is... is a challenge.
I think that the doctor,
Dr. Kigondu.
Yes. And also the CEO of Bagavi has raised 3 key issues. So number one, stability of the system. So I want first to confirm that as of today, our availability is 98.67%. We are not 99.99 that we require. We are 98.67, which is actually very good enough for people who has implemented this system within that short period of time. Now, pre-authorization. If you look at the SHA system, and I want to go back, if you look at the SHA system, it is using many other government systems to provide services correctly. In what way? For example, for the health worker, this is the first time we are able to uniquely identify a health worker. That is another system. Now, when we were able to identify this health worker, we gave them some responsibility. And that has greatly reduced our pre-authorization approvals from weeks that used to be in NHIF to seconds, to minutes. Because the doctor now, we have told him, you are the one who wants to provide these services. We have confirmed your license is correct, and therefore we want you to approve. Now, Yvonne, what happened? We realized because as you build system, you're collecting data. So when you collect data, you start using that data to do AI, to do big data analytics, to create patterns and see what is happening. So we find, for example, a doctor is approving a pre-authorization and claiming that he did a surgery in Mandera. Well, physically, he is in Malindi. That is where we got to where we are. Then we said, because we still want our doctors, we don't want another doctor or another Kenyan to sit at SHA and say, why are you approving and all these type of things. We still want to give you that responsibility. We said you should be, okay, in your place of work. What used to be how to happen in NHIF? During NHIF, they used to go to the hospital and sign a form, okay? To say this form of pre-authorization, I'm the one who has authorized, that form is uploaded, then it goes to SHA. So we are just telling them, now we have digitized that, provide that platform. Now, is there an improved way of doing it? And we keep having discussion with our health workers and see how they improve. Yes. One of the discussions we're having now is exactly what you have raised. To say, fine, can we have 2 layers? 1 layer, let me approve, but the day I am doing the surgery,
you should be there.
You should be there. But as we do that, we need a lot of information, even including knowing exactly where is that surgery, that theater that is going to do surgery. Because the issues that we have faced during NHIF, you will find a facility that has no theater room. So we are moving there and we are engaging them in that area. And we want to encourage all our health workers. We are giving them a lot of responsibility because we don't want to police them. They are professional people, but they have to do the right, the right thing.
Understood.
And as that happened, just give me a minute.
1 second. I just want to clarify.
1 minute, I finish one thing.
Okay.
Because it's very important for every Kenyan to understand. You know, when you are doing claims under NHIF, they used to go through county office, regional office, and all that way. That workflow and the workflow of a person in Mombasa, they will never meet. What is happening with this system? When you're doing a claim, when you're treating a Kenya, all that data is being collected. AI comes in to create patterns. We see doctors who, most of the time, all their patients are being referred. They are referred from a public facility, taken to a next nearest private facility. And these are the patterns that we are creating. And as we create patterns, we want to educate both our health facilities and as well as our health workers to do the right thing. So that every claim that is approved, so I want you to know, so that every claim that is submitted is actually directly paid. But all this data needs to be collected and all this ecosystem is being used to do that area. Finally, the last one. Look at NHIF. When we took NHIF only, and that is the other thing that we're giving SHA, interoperability. When we took the data of NHIF and just compare your data and your biometrics with National Registration Bureau, then the 3 million were fake. 3 million of them were fake. That is the other advantages that we're giving SHA. SHA does not need to work in silo. SHA needs to work in the whole this ecosystem. And that's why DHA is there. And it's tested across the world. You even had the best countries in the world, one of the first world countries in the world. This is the way we need to go. Because this fraud is a global problem and is the biggest risk for SHA.
Okay. Yeah. So all of these people who are raising these issues, it's possible that they all just have a problem with using it. There is no perhaps legitimate case where some would say there are certain challenges with the system. Like you said, implementing a system takes time and there's glitches on both sides. But from what I'm hearing you say tonight, the system is fine. It's working as perfectly as it should. And that those who are raising issues, Bagathi, Kenya Medical Association, RUPA, they are the problem. Or they don't know how to use the system as they should. I'm just asking if there's legitimacy.
That's a legitimate question.
Allow me to finish the question. If there is legitimacy in several different groups of people who are raising similar issues, might there be any issue, or are they all mistaken, wrong, lying, or don't know how to use the system? That's the clarification I'm seeking from you.
Yvonne, and I'll start again, change is hard. Now, are we saying that, our system is a system of the future of the world, 100% super AI, Elon Musk is going to be buying in very soon? That's not what we're saying, Yvonne. The system has to be built. It has to be built by the provider of the system and the people who would be the users of the system, including SHA, who's a user of the system. Two things have been happening. We are moving, and we are moving very quickly to ensure that Kenyans get access to SHA services. And sometimes perhaps we are moving at a dizzying speed for providers. And we're saying we will not relent. We will continue moving quickly because this reform is so urgent. And I want you to pack that and understand that we are moving, and we are moving quickly. As we move, there are people who are being left behind. And some of those people who are being left behind, we are saying we are coming back and we're carrying you along in training you in how to use the system. Dr. Irungu has talked about, I think he was saying that he calls in and help doesn't come in, and then, it comes in later. We've actually had engagements with providers over the last 3 weeks, asking them what will work for you. Tell us what relationship support will work for you so that you're able to get the support that you need when you need it. And we're activating that, and providers will have that support. Now, you've asked, is this system completely there 100%? There are things that we're improving on right now.
Tell us about those.
So, for example, if you look at our how a doctor lodges a claim through the provider portal that then gets into the payer portal and then into the ERP, we actually want to introduce a clinical decision support tool. And this is something that we will do in the coming year. That clinical decision support tool, Yvonne, will ensure that your doctor does not give you a prescription that would cause harm. So, for example, if I have an allergy to a certain medication, and it's in my Afya Yangu portal, so we have all your data, and we know Mercy has allergies, say, to Brufen, and your doctor puts in that prescription there, we'll actually auto-reject that because we have your data, and we'll be protecting you. And that's called a clinical decision support tool. Now, Yvonne, to get to that, for that to work, we have to collect data from all our doctors, turn that data into a machine learning apparatus to be able to figure out, these are how prescriptions look like in Kenya. This is what Yvonne suffers from. This is what her allergies are. This is what we need to put in as a clinical decision support tool. That's one of the things that's coming up. So,
yes, I wanted to add two things, and I agree. One, yes, there are some areas that maybe as a challenge to our service providers, which we need to support in. One of them, for example, is biometrics, which after we have launched, our success rate is currently at 74%. Okay? Remember, we used to use OTP. Now we went to biometrics. Key issues we're facing, people with edge cases, whereby your fingers have a problem, call it your fingers and this type of issues. And we are working with our providers to ensure that that is streamlined. The second challenge that we also accept and we need to improve and complete it is the issue of connectivity, whereby sometimes within your own facility, okay, you don't have internet, or internet signal is not good enough, and therefore you face challenges in providing services. That's why within this project of Digital Superhighway, we are providing internet for 10 years to each and every public health facility and giving you devices that are reliable for that. Now that takes time, especially for our public facilities. And sometimes they face some of these challenges.
And how far are you with that? So, or what's the plan?
So the whole of that, we expect to complete the whole of that plan by December. Currently, we are in 25 counties, rolling out in 25 counties, which are in different stages of rolling out, where we're able to provide them internet, we're able to provide them better gadgets and all that areas. And our public facilities might be facing these challenges. Our governors are supporting us. We want to ensure that those two key issues are actually addressed.
Okay.
And some of the users, because of maybe sometimes technical challenges, when they are not able to access the system, they will say the SHA system is down. By the way, Yvonne, and there's a time that happened in this country. The last time that portal went down was around March. much of that area. And normally when it goes down, it affects the whole country. You will always hear a cry. But today you will hear a hospital has a challenge, this hospital has a challenge, because of many other parameters that affect digitization within that cross area. And when you give me a chance, I will explain to you the 38 systems that we are building and how far we are, because we are not yet there, but we have made tremendous progress.
All right, we'll get there. I want us to talk about the emergency fund, and there seems to be a challenge with that. So that I'm not paraphrasing. Let's hear from the CEO of the Mbagathi Hospital, who talked about this very critical fund, and the fact that he says it's not in operation. Let's listen.
There's a very big challenge with the chief and the emergency fund. And for instance, for the emergency fund, as we sit here, has not been activated, but we are still receiving patients, critical and emergency, and we are still serving them.
And still billing, Sha?
Yes, no. That module is not even activated.
There's no money. So who pays?
Yes.
The patient?
It's the facility which now hit us for that.
Your response?
Yes, Yvonne. I'm going to look for Dr. Irungu and I'll give him some education after this because he's a colleague. We actually did a pilot exercise and I'm pulling out that data here on the Emergency Chronic Illnesses Fund. We picked level 6 hospitals and level 5 hospitals in Nairobi, and we actually opened the portal for emergency services. And just to be clear, Yvonne, in the Constitution, every Kenyan has the right to emergency care. We allowed that portal to pick that data, about 4 months of data, and we analyzed it. We rejected 80% of claims lodged by level 6 and 5 hospitals. And Yvonne, to even make this clearer, these were public facilities.
For the emergency?
Yes, we rejected 80% of claims lodged in the emergency package. What were the reasons of rejection? Providers were loading in claims for lab tests. Those are not part of our benefit package. Providers were lodging in claims such as cardiopulmonary arrest. Even cardiopulmonary arrest means death. That is not a benefit package. So what have we done since then? We've stopped the pilot exercise, and we're actually very soon going to be rolling out a comprehensive emergency care with codes in the system for what can be billable as an emergency service. And we have about 9 procedures.
Yeah, so help us understand that, because speaking as a layman, if you go in with an emergency, as they're doing everything, do they not conduct tests?
Very good.
So just help us understand what is billable in an emergency situation, so that perhaps there's an understanding. Again, I take note that you have really pointed out a user problem, which we'll come back and talk about in a minute. Help us understand.
So let me start even with
what's billable as emergency.
Even as we speak right now, we have about 5.9B. Appropriated to us for the Emergency Chronic Illness Fund, about 5 billion. Out of this 5 billion, a proportion of that
allocated
will cater. So our full allocations for this year, I think ECCF is 8 billion, if I'm not wrong, 8 billion. But we received some funding from last year. So out of that funding received, Yvonne, part of that will go into our ICU HDU package, which was enhanced to ensure that we're able to pay 28,000 Kenya shillings per night spent in ICU for 12 days. And so when Dr. Irungu says the Emergency Chronic Illness Fund is not working, then he's not familiar that when we pay out for an ICU service, we are actually getting that money from that fund. Is that clear? So all Kenyans who've accessed ICU services and have had their 28,000 Kenya shillings paid for 12 days or their HDU services paid for have actually come out of the ECCI fund. So that's number one. The second component is what you were asking me. What exactly is an emergency service? We've actually defined conditions, and they are tariffed and in our Gazette notice of what emergencies are. And these are technical, but essentially these are things that touch on maternity emergencies where a mother is bleeding and she needs to move from one facility to another to access care. They touch on issues such as asthmatic attacks severe asthmatic attacks, severe, let me call them allergic reactions, anaphylactic reactions that somebody has, issues to do with stroke. If you're having any debilitating conditions that would affect functioning of your brain, your heart, your kidneys, they're coded as emergencies. Now, within the SHA system that we were talking about, we actually have these codes itemized. And so if you land at Bagathi, we would expect Dr. Irungu and his team, if I'm a stroke patient, to actually put in, and I'll give hypothetically SHA 010 as the code for stroke. Then SHA will be able to reimburse that service for 24 hours. Now, within that stroke package would be the lab tests, would be the x-rays required, would be the medication required. So it's bundled care. However, what providers were doing was saying one lab test, one x-ray done, one CT scan done. And we appreciate this was a new system. And like I've told you, we've gotten that data. Now we understand provider behavior and we'll be training them. And it will be very clear and locked in the system how they're able to say this is a stroke patient, this is an aneurysm, this is a brain issue seizure, for example, status epilepticus, and this is therefore part of the emergency package. Additionally, Yvonne, remember I've just talked about the ICU package. Now I've talked about the emergency benefit package. There's also the ambulance service. Kenya will soon be launching the ambulance service. And I'm happy that I'm here on Citizen today to tell all Kenyans very soon, you'll be able to pick up your phone, call a number. It could be 999. You'd call that number. We'll be able to identify where you are in Kenya. We'll be able to map you to the nearest emergency center. We'll be able to dispatch an ambulance to you that will then transport you to that emergency center. SHA will pay 4,500 shillings for that evacuation. And when you get to that emergency center, when you get to Mbagathi, Dr. Irungu's facility, you will get care for free for 24 hours without paying. That service is soon to be launched before the end of this year.
Okay, so again, a user issue. Is that...
that's a new service. That's not been launched. So we're rolling it out.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just talking about the previous issues. Is that not an indictment then on your part? Because you seem to say there's this widespread lack of understanding of the system, how it works. And so who would be responsible for ensuring that service providers, health practitioners understand the system? Some would say then it still falls back on SHA, because you seem to say there's this good system, it works, it's been internationally acclaimed, but yet there's all of these questions from all of these people. Are surely all of them resisting change, or is there a point at which more training should have been done before the rollout? Because remember, there was that transition period, right? What was being done during that transition period?
So Yvonne, training will be done and will always be continuously done, because this system, we've barely scratched the surface, Yvonne, and new additive features will continue being introduced. What I'd want our providers to do is to embrace change. And then for us as SHA to be present, and we will be present for these providers to train them as we work with DHA. Number two, Yvonne, like I mentioned earlier, we are moving with dizzying speed. And sometimes someone can question, why did we move so quickly? Why did we not take time to transition and put things in place slowly? But I'll ask our numbers to speak for themselves. 5 million Kenyans have accessed PHC services. Resources have been moved to dispensaries who used to see 30,000 in a year, now are seeing 1 million, 2 million, 3 million Kenya shillings in a year. If you look at SHIF, Yvonne, about 30,000 cancer patients have accessed care. If you look at surgeries, 200,000 cases of surgeries that have gone through the SHIF fund. And so for us, we feel determined to continue moving quickly, but also then recognizing that our providers want to be carried along. You will be hearing very soon, and I should come and check. There will be training sessions where they'll be carried along. I do remember some time back, DHA, we were having sessions online, virtually, bringing providers, and there's poor attendance. People would come in, drop off, or you'd send perhaps your accountant instead of your doctor, or instead of your nurse, or the person who's putting in a claim. So we'll come up with new modalities and engage providers. I think, Yvonne...
Just to add something on that, that is one reason why we are here. First, we want to educate the Kenyan people on this big, good system that we are doing. That's number one. Number two, even yesterday we were in Vihiga. with our CS.
Yes.
And what we are doing in Vihiga are two things. One, communicate to the Kenyans this system. Number two, we have a special session for health workers.
Sure.
Where we are explaining to them each and every part of this component. Tomorrow, Yvonne, we will be in Nyandarua, together again with our CS. And every week, we at least do 2 counties. Our target, we explain to the Kenyan people, we work with the governors, and also communicate to our health workers, our facility owners. So, though there is a gap in this explanation of how the whole of this ecosystem happened, and because there's a big change, normally you will take time, but people will take time to work with you. For us, it is very easy that any good technology without the people is not good enough. And we are doing that to ensure that then we keep training. And we welcome all our partners, including the media. Come be with us as we do these rollouts within the counties so that we pass this message together.
Okay. I'd like us to address questions now from our audiences. Do we have those? Let's see. So just for those who are in studio, there's a screen over there directly ahead. Evans Musinga asked, does SHA have a provision for refund in case you don't get the prescribed medication from the service facility?
Let me first say something on the system. We'll talk about the prescription. This is actually a very good question.
Very good question.
One of the things that we have just realized, when we did the SHA benefit package, it's combined with both diagnosis, medication, test, and all those things. But last month, we started to require doctors to do prescription. One thing that will shock you, from the data that we are collecting, you get 50% of facility are doing prescription. You will get lesser number are doing dispensing. But what do we normally do? We collect this data and we keep telling them, please do prescription. After that, we will improve the system and ensure that every Kenyan who gets services under SHA must be given a drug. And you will hear that access rule that has also come in place. And you will hear noise. You will hear people saying, oh, system issue. It is because we are collecting some of this data and we are telling them you must give drugs to the Kenyan people. Outside that, we're introducing another system called e-prescription, whereby if you go to a facility, like a public facility, there are no drugs. You go there, they do a diagnosis for you, they prescribe a drug for you, but there are no drugs. SHA, very soon, will start allowing community pharmacies through the e-prescription. You walk to a pharmacy, you scan your Afya app or your phone, you get the drugs. But that is a journey that we are working in. And already data that we are seeing, we were yesterday in Vihiga trying to explain to Vihiga, we are showing them. We are showing our governors, we are showing our facilities and tell them, look at the data. People are not prescribing or they are not giving drugs to patients in SHA. Yet Mercy pays the whole of that packet.
Okay.
And Yvonne, you've asked.
So to answer Evan's question?
Yes. So do we issue a refund right now? No, we don't issue a refund. But what Anthony has shared with you is what will enable us to actually issue a refund, should we, or actually reject the claim at the facility. So the idea is that, for example, I talked about the maternity package. If I have to have a cesarean section, I know I need a doctor, a theater, the anesthetist, and some drugs to put you to sleep, a knife to cut, and sutures, and blood, maybe a normal saline. We have bundled that into a package of 30K reimbursement for every cesarean section. Very soon, the system that Anthony is talking about will be able to tell me this patient required 2 pints of normal saline, or this patient upon discharge required amoxil for 5 days. Was it issued or not? We'll be able to tell that in the system because we'll be able to see the prescription done and medicine dispensed at the pharmacy. If that is not happening, we will not pay for that claim.
Okay. So what would you say eventually?
Right now, it's not happening, but it's coming.
All right.
Yes.
So in the event that we get there and they're able to seek a refund, that patient goes directly to SHA? So what would the process be if they want to seek a refund?
So you remember what he's talked about, community pharmacies? Yeah. We are going to, let me say, democratize the space in terms of pharmaceutical practice in the country. SHA right now has contracts with hospitals. So I have a contract with Coptic Hospital. Coptic within it has a pharmacy, has a lab, has an X-ray department, and they offer you the service. Should you go to Coptic and Coptic tell you, no, this drug is not available, you will actually be filtered out to a community pharmacy that will give you that drug.
All right. Okay. Understood. Let's take another question. We have very many, so I'd like us to answer them as quickly as possible.
And another one.
But here
so
we
much to
are.
share.
Ask the CEO why they rejected claims so many months after the procedure was done.
Very good.
Why not reject it during the pre-authorization phase?
Really good question, and I was waiting for this. So we have put in a system where we want Kenyans to get service immediately. NHIF used to take sometimes even 2 weeks for your case to be pre-authorized. So our current pre-authorization system, Yvonne, takes 1 minute, 50 seconds. I think some days I even see 1:45 in terms of pre-authorization. It means the Kenyan then is able to go in and get the service. However, SHA still has a responsibility to protect public resources. SHA still has a responsibility, even after that pre-authorization, to make sure that that claim is legitimate or not. And that's what we do in claims adjudication. So a provider may see Mercy has been pre-authorized for a knee surgery, but SHA still has to come and make sure Mercy got the knee surgery. And that really is the claims adjudication process. And that's how it works everywhere. What have we noticed? That sometimes providers are saying, and I really like using maternity cases, Mercy delivered. You gave a pre-authorization for this cesarean section. Mercy delivered, pay us the claim. When I open their documents, there's no birth notification. How do I know there's a baby? Whether dead or alive, delivered. And so then that claim, seemingly yes and rightly so pre-authorized, then becomes rejected.
Okay, so when you reject a claim, what's then the procedure?
Right.
And is there a time frame within which you must reject the claim? So tell us about that.
Yep. So according to our contracts, we have 3 types of rejections, and we'll get a bit technical. There's an outright rejection claim, where essentially that claim will not be serviced at all by SHA. And those are claims that are fraudulent or claims that don't have claim forms, invoices, or discharge summaries. Simply SHA cannot make a decision whether this service was offered or not. That one is outrightly rejected. There are claims where then we say, this is a claim that will be rejected on the basis of missing documents, but we'll give you 14 days to resubmit your documents. And if you resubmit and give us that birth notification or those theater notes, then we'll approve your claim and it will become a claim that is payable.
So you have 2 weeks within to form the submitted claims.
Yes.
You have 2 weeks within to respond back with queries.
Yes. And what they see is there's actually a countdown in the provider portal. So Coptic can see we have 13 more days, 12 more days, 10 more days, 11 more days to ensure that you resubmit the claim. It's a third type of, let me call it quasi-rejection. You can come in and tell me Yvonne was here for 7 days, and I look at your case notes and case files and determine that this procedure, this malaria case just needed 3 days or 4 days of admission. And then that becomes a partial approval. So I pay for the 4 or 3 or 2 days that I feel are authentic, and then the other days are rejected. So that's a partial approval. Then you have claims that we call surveillance claims. A provider will lodge a claim. He'll see it has been sent into the surveillance bin. That means SHA officers have to come, visit the facility, much like what you see private insurance doing, come and determine Anthony is actually here, this is his doctor, this is what's going on. So we have those 4 buckets of claims when it comes to rejection.
Okay, so when some members claim that their claims are rejected up to 90 days after the claim was submitted, is that accurate?
And that's okay. And SHA can even reject your claims for November. So we're clear, Yvonne. Missing documents, you have 14 days to resubmit. A rejected claim, SHA holds mandate and responsibility to reject even claims paid out in October, because we can do what is called post-payment auditing of claims. And that actually happens in all insurance agencies. You go back and you check, so what exactly was happening here? And if you find an anomaly, then you actually have a mandate within the law to reject it.
All right, here's another question. Sorry, before we get to that one, there's this one. Yaonekana bado kuna shida. Today in the morning, I wake up and shared these details with my team. But those details for appealing and resubmitting are missing on the portal. Then at 4 p.m., I get rejections worth 800,000 shillings of maternity cases. Excuse me, reason, no proof that a delivery took place. Documents of birth notification are on the portal and are submitted. What else is proof that delivery took place? This is from a doctor in Kitale.
Good question. And I wish we had the provider portal to show you right now, Yvonne. Claims that providers have actually put through and documents that they've put through are actually frozen. So for example, that doctor can actually come and engage SHA, and we'll open the portal and we'll be able to show him what he put into the portal and what SHA was able to utilize as it was adjudicating the claim. Now, I've had the doctor say he wakes up in the morning, he sees claims are in this status. He wakes up in the evening, he sees claims are in that status. Yvonne, our teams are working 24 hours, and your claim status can change minute by minute, hour by hour, because we have teams looking at your claims. So it's not a static position that your claims must remain in a certain state. Yeah. The numbers will keep tallying all the way to the end of each month, where we're able to do your reconciliation. So that change is expected. Now, doctor in Kitale, come to SHA, come in, meet part of the provider team. They'll be waiting for you. Bring your claims. We'll actually open the system. We'll show you the system, and we'll be able to look at your case.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another some of them, just to add one thing, because they need to understand.
Very good. You have 34 questions
one
now and counting.
Yes.
So it would
one
be good
of
if
them,
we just
because it's important.
Take it.
Yes, because it helps them. Take it. One of them is we have a lot of data. Okay, so you do a pre-auth and we receive the first data. You do a claim.
Pre-authorization.
Let's
use that.
Yes, pre-authorization.
Yes.
And we get that data. You come and do claim and you give us that data. We realize sometimes we create a pattern. 10 claims or 20 claims, okay, are using one document.
Exactly.
What do we do, Yvonne?
Okay.
We have to protect public money.
Okay, all right.
So we'll tell you, by the time you're doing the pre-auth, this was okay. But the way you are submitting is not okay.
Okay. Let's take another question. Let's hope we can answer this. It's 11:24. Answer as many as we can. I registered for SHA. This is Judy. Yeah. The premium given for me to be paying is 42,000. I'm a retiree from Kerry. Instead of being asked the questions, my data was auto-generated. When I called SHA contact center, they were unable to help. Ask Dr. Mangangi what I'm supposed to do since I want to pay the correct premium.
Fantastic. So our retiree there, Judy, she's retired, she was working, and Judy went through the means testing, answered a set of questions that landed her at 42,000. There are two things that I want Kenyans to understand. One, our means testing is deployed through an instrument, and this instrument aims to estimate your income or your earnings, and then therefore determine your premium. And that's how it works. And this is a tool that's used globally in many countries. America, Australia, UK, they all use means testing tools. Number two is that our system actually has an appeals mechanism within it, built in. Yeah. And I think we have the Afya Yangu portal. You could talk about it, how a Kenyan can go in and actually appeal that premium, resubmit into the questions, and get a new premium, should the appeal be approved.
Yeah. Just Judy should go to *147, click appeal, do an appeal, and I think we will be able to handle that case.
Yeah.
And any other Kenyan.
Yeah.
Any other Kenyan.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, next question. And as you're aware, this is Dr. Nyakundi. As you're aware, abolishing monthly contributions for non-employed groups caused a lot of difficulties till now. Can you kindly reverse the idea? Yearly payment is difficult for the low-income earners.
So, Dr. Nyakundi, unfortunately, we cannot reverse, and this is not going to be palatable, but it's necessary. Yvonne, one of the reasons why NHIF was in trouble is because Kenyans would come in, pay the 500 shillings, utilize the service, and drop off. We call that the attrition rate. And so when you see SHA bringing in the annual payment of your premiums, it's to be able to actually protect the fund, protect this big harambe we all have as Kenyans, and to ensure that it's sustainable. So what we've done, and this is something that we really want to share with Kenyans.
You, and I really appreciate for being with you and having moment discussion, having a day with you, and it is so great.